Welcome to the fourth episode of the CEO Roundtable, and today's topic is Blacks in Technology. We are so honored to have our guest here today. I am your host, Christopher J. Parker. I'm the board chair of the African American Business Association of the Joliet Regional Chamber. And on behalf of the Chamber, I want to thank all of you, our listening audience that are taking your time to listen to our experts on today, and we're going to have a good time. I also want to make sure we thank our sponsors. Without you, this is not possible. If you look to our screen, our sponsors are going to be showing. Make sure everyone get a chance to know and support our sponsors. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump in. And certainly before I do, I have to thank our partners, Rose to Eternity. We're in the studio and we are really excited about the partnership and what we're going to do together. Today, we have two awesome people in the studio on today, and we're going to jump right on in. To my left, we have Mrs. Erica Holmes, who is the CEO of some JONKI Consulting, Innovation, and Technology. Have been here nearly a decade, and we are honored to have her, and we're going to give her a moment to tell her story. But we also have our CEO of After the Peanut right here in Joliet, our CEO, Dr. Natalie Coleman. Welcome to the CEO Virtual Roundtable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to dive on in. Erica, we're going to start with you. Tell us your story. How did you get started?
So I actually was a nurse first. And as passionate as I am about helping people, I couldn't save them.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, let me go into a field that I can save it or fix it. Mm-hmm. So technology was the next best thing for me. I went into technology not understanding where it was going to lead me, and ended up working for one of the biggest technology companies in the world, which is Apple.
Wow.
So once I started with Apple, it kind of went on from there. And I knew that even though there was a platform for me, I always wanted to own my own business. So I went into owning my own business and understanding that I knew nursing and technology. So I was very unique in my field.
Very good. Awesome. Good to hear. Well, Erica, we are certainly excited to have you. We know you come with loads of experience, and the purpose of these virtual CEOs Roundtable is to get an expert in the seat and get the information out to all the folks that's going to be viewing
Correct.
us. Dr. Natalie Coleman, welcome again. We're excited to have you. Tell us, how did you get started?
So I began my career in education immediately after I returned from Iraq. I was in the military and I had thought about being a police officer. I had even passed the Chicago exam. And when I came home after being military police, I said, I think I want to get into something that's a little bit more proactive. Mm-hmm. And so I went back to school, earned my education degree, and began teaching high school at Bloom High School. Mm-hmm. So I taught chemistry and physics for about 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then a position opened up in Joliet, my hometown, in the school district that I grew up in. So I took it, or I applied for it and got the job. And just being in that space and having been out like in the south suburbs and just learning a few things about, I would say, like the ceilings that are sometimes placed when you work inside of a system. Mm-hmm. I saw that there was a need for some things that were not in place. And the best way to kind of do things sometimes is to build your own table, as people say.
That's it.
And so I created After the Peanut to address the inequities in STEAM for underrepresented groups.
Now that is powerful. And a sidebar, what's interesting about your both of your stories is you all are testaments that you do not have to stay in the field your entire life. You're not locked in. You can pivot where you need to. And really, when we talk about technology rolls up out of nowhere. And now everybody thrives and need technology.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with you, Erica. IT, now we're going to have a lot of people tuning in and they don't even know where to start. So we have to take them through this journey of IT and technology and information systems and how this thing kind of plays a part. Answer this question for our viewing audience today. IT plays a crucial role in almost every company. Mm-hmm. Why?
It's needed. The days of manual labor and manually doing things is obsolete. So when you think of how you integrate systems and how you move those systems around between different organizations and even between people, you need something more autonomous to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So technology is huge. It's not going nowhere, and actually, it's evolving daily. So you have to definitely keep up with the latest, because again, with obsolete leaption, you have to just mainly keep up with it.
Yeah, very good. Now, Natalie, your story is unique because you have an organization where you really are trying to get STEM and really get our young people to really wrap their arms around it. So tell me, why is it so crucial that folks that are coming up in their earlier years get an opportunity to wrap their hands around technology?
We really focus on moving from consumer to producer, because
I like that.
young people, and I haven't done a poll, but a lot of young boys, young men, and some girls, they spend a lot of time on video games. They spend a lot of time on their phones. And whether they know it or not, like they're taking in a lot or playing someone else's game or app. And I would say to them, you can make your own. I was not floored, but I was a little surprised when I was told, like, one of the major video games that are played was in its beta form, meaning like it still had glitches, but so many people was downloading it and playing it. They were like, we'll just leave it how it is. We don't need to spend the money to fix it because it's doing so well. And I said, they made this game. You can make your own game as well. You can, and my fear of coding growing up and of the zeros and the ones when I was sitting in this class, and I said, I don't want students to have that type of fear. Like, I want them to understand that they can build some of the things instead of just being consumers of it.
Wow, that is so powerful. And I think the earlier we can really get our minds wrapped around that, the better off we'll be. Now, Erica, you really hit a pivotal point that I got to bring out a little bit more from both you and Dr. Coleman, is you talked about really staying in tune with the growing changes of technology. What's interesting is, and I have to break this up. So, Erica, I'm going to have you take one part of it, and Dr. Coleman, you take the other part. There are people that have not even started to they're in the 70s of technology, and we're in 2022. How do we get the people that say, listen, I remember when we had the little Apple screen and it was green and light green. That's all I remember in technology, and I don't want to learn anymore. What do you say to those people? And then Dr. Coleman, I want you to talk to the people that literally know technology, but really feel like they don't have to make sure that they stay refreshed in it, that they know enough now to last them for the next decade. We'll start with Erica.
So through the National Hookup of Black Women, I was able to host classes for seniors on technology.
Okay.
And this is how I explain it to people that say they don't want to learn it or they're fearful of it, is that they have learned so much. They look at their grandkids or look at children today and say, well, they know so much more than me. Not technically. I don't have a green thumb, right? So you know how to garden, you know how to do life skills. And now with the help of me and you, now you can learn technology as well. So you're adding to your skill set. So, taking away that fear, like, hey, this is a safe space. Just to learn settings on your phone will take you a long way. So if you can't reach your granddaughter or your grandson, you know that, well, I learned this in this class. So it's really the fear factor. Once you take the fear factor out of it, they'll notice all the cool things they can do with technology. And then what they do is, girl, let me tell you, I learned this. And they show their friends. So it's when one does it, then others will catch on.
Yeah, very good. Recap. Get over your fear.
Yes.
Get some help.
Yes.
Get into a classroom and learn it. Learn it. Get
Yes.
over that. And I just want to make sure, because we have a lot of business people. I have to pick on my mom. My mom is the CEO, and she literally just learned Google Calendar, and she loves it. But it took us almost 4 years to get her over the hurdle of really accepting a new form of technology. And I just think that these are things that, to your point, getting over your fear and having organizations that offer these classes will help some of our senior business owners to really embrace technology. Dr. Coleman, how do we talk to the people that think they have a PhD in technology and they don't need any more continuing education?
So continuing education in any field is necessary, whether it was technology, if you're a doctor, if you're an educator, you have to get continuing hours because things change. And I can't speak to the exact takeoff, but let's just say, look at the last 20 years and where technology has gone compared to let's say the 1950s to the 2000s. So there were things that came about, but the last 20 years, it's been so much growth in technology. One thing that I always think about are driverless vehicles. And a lot of people think it's just a car and no one's in it, which is possible. I've seen pizzas delivered this way, right? But they're like these types of things people are fearful of because they don't know the research and the technology behind it. Human error causes plenty of car accidents, right? And if there's something that can actually prevent those from happening by putting those sensors in the cars, and it can send out a signal and it bounces back when an object is in front of it. Like these types of things are happening in our world. And so somebody has to learn how to make these things. So this goes back to students becoming producers and being able to fix these problems and use critical thinking skills. That's another thing that happens when you continue on learning. You're challenging yourself because you're going into something that you don't know about to upskill, whether that's to get a better job or a different job. But for me, it's because there's so much growth. I'm thinking within the next 10 years, drones will be delivering our stuff. Someone spoke about many planes flying you from like Joliet to Chicago for quicker, instead of waiting in traffic. And it's like all these things are happening around us, and who's going to be there to fix it, make it better, make sure it's working correctly. So
or that's even create it.
Yeah, and creating it. So there's a need to continue to learn, even if you think you're at the top of your field.
Yeah, very good. This is, I promise you, we're getting ready to just take off. This is just so phenomenal. So I recently got a win of an interesting statistic that I thought was just so phenomenally scary. 3/4 of businesses are solopreneur, one person, one employee. So 3/4, 75% of business owners are self-employed. They're the only employee and they don't have employees themselves. Here's the question. How would you explain the value of technology to someone that don't understand technology? Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure our viewing audience, for those people that are tuning in because they don't know where to go with technology, how do we talk to them and explain technology in a way that they're able to understand how they can impact their own business? Because majority of them are literally running their own business themselves. Erica and then Dr. Coleman.
So, example, I have a cousin. She's an amazing cake decorator. That is her niche. That is her thing. But she doesn't understand the technology as far as maybe the marketing piece or how to download the pictures into the app and that kind of thing to be able to sell the business. So what I had to learn myself is to stay in my lane. So sometimes we have to hire people that know the things that we don't. I would definitely say look at reviews, get word of mouth, that kind of thing, because we try to do everything. That's when you overextend and burn yourself out. So you have to go and seek professionals in different fields that you need. To explain it in layman's terms, that you need technology, it can cost you a lot of money. Far as if you do not get the technology you need, you're missing money. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. So, just explain it in that kind of way, then they'll see the need.
Yeah.
Once you do the needs assessment and you show the need, then they say, okay, let's see if this will work for me.
Very good. Dr. Coleman.
So just explaining the pros of technology
Value.
Value. So for me, similar to what Eric is saying, I learned to stay in my lane. I'm not a website designer. I am an educator, curriculum writer, program developer. So when it came to my website, I started it, but I said, wait a minute. If someone comes here, is it user friendly? So you have to test these things out on the market. You have to get feedback from friends, parents. Who are you marketing to, right? So you design things in a certain way that you're bringing in the customer that you're trying to market to. Another piece for me is bookkeeping and data collection and knowing who was enrolled in the program last summer. How can I easily access that information so when the next program comes around, I can easily send them an email. So using things, and I hate to pub some of these companies, but I use them. So I mean, they must be good, right? So like MailChimp, right, is a wonderful tool for sending out your newsletters, sending out monthly information, and the investment in that, right? So you can, send it out to up to 2,000 people. If you need more than that, you pay a monthly fee. But these subscriptions come to benefit you because now you can set the time for when it's released, right? So that's one piece. The other thing, I feel like when people have multiple ways to communicate with you, that opens up more doors. So my company has a 1-800 number. So you can call, you can email, you can go to the website and contact us. So all those things are ways for people. Some people will never email you, but you have a phone number. So for some of the generations who are like, I don't email, but I can call this number and get my grandchild signed up. Okay, I'm going to call the phone number. So I think just knowing some baseline programs that will benefit your company, save you time, and also bring in different consumers and clients based on the way they can communicate with you.
Yeah, very good. What's interesting is I found out recently as well that kind of the average age user of Facebook is somewhere in the 50s. So what we're finding out is some people are starting to grasp that you do need to step up and use some of these technology tools and resources to kind of get to where you need to go. But there's still people out there that literally just don't understand it and don't know where to go. You mentioned MailChimp. Where do people start when it comes down to technology and different platforms or programs? Where do they start? Because there are certain businesses that don't have a website, and that's got to be scary.
So I was still working full time, and I think I was asking around, does anybody know someone who builds websites? And I met a young man, and he has been phenomenal. And so because of him being able to build my website, he tells me about other platforms and programs. I also look at what other educational institutions use and what other companies who are in the same field as me, what are they using to communicate? What does their website look like? How are they drawing in customers? So I think it's some research on your own, but finding the expert in that area, because we haven't talked about marketing a lot, but once again, that's not what I do. So you have to look at people's work, right? And you have to say, okay, I like the type of work they do. I want them to come on, and do this marketing plan for me and develop some materials and some tangible things that I can post on social media that can go on the website. So I think just doing your own research and then talking to other business owners, looking at websites you like. If it's a company you see you like, who built your website? I'm really interested in having a website built. So I think that's part of it. A little legwork.
You are really hitting on some things, I'm telling you, because it's much easier than what people think it is. Literally, if you see it and you like it, inquire.
Yes.
And that literally is so huge. And I encourage all the businesses out there, do some research, look around, and I'll tell you. So we had an event last night, and when we showed up to the event, they said, hey, get your phones out, use your camera, and use this QR code. And when we used the QR code, there was a whole survey that popped up. I mean, it was very, very nice. And I'm like, well, we'll have to use that. And there's a lot of what technology is really inquiring and finding out the source and literally finding ways to be able to implement it for your own business. Now, I want to take a little spin here. I love a part of our segment and our interview where we get to dream a little bit, right? We get to look further ahead. So when you all look 5 to 10 years down the road, how will technology impact where we are today?
So I'm
Erica.
I'm gonna be very, very blunt
Mm-hmm.
that people are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why mediocre companies can thrive in that space, because people are lazy. So example, everybody loves Amazon. Everybody loves them. Now, are they the best company out there? As of right now, to everybody, yes. But how they ran and how their technology and how's that, they're popping up everywhere. So when I think 5 or 10 years from now, I do know that a lot of their facilities have went to a more robotic situations. So that means they're using more technology than people. So yes, they still need people, but now people need to understand there's a whole new market that needs you. For instance, I'm now into cybersecurity. Due to the pandemic, a lot of people was vulnerable. A lot of businesses were vulnerable. So with that, knowing that that is a need, government is looking for those kind of professionals. So the days of like even mailmen's, how they're like going to a whole different style of how that they're going to be obsolete. So you have to think about different avenues as far as technology and how you want to work in that space. So in 5 and 10 years, everything is going to be technology.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be techie, and it's almost like you got to conform to it.
Yeah,
Erica, or you're going to miss out.
Let me tell you, I went, and I'm going to get to you, Dr. Coleman, but you triggered something. I went to a presentation 6 years ago, and the gentleman said in 10 years, the 30 to 40% of the job force will no longer be here.
Correct.
And I was so floored. I almost said, let's not bring this guy back in again. But what's happening is automation is a very serious thing.
It is.
And when we look ahead with technology, we better make sure that we got a handle on it, because it literally will be front and center in everything we do. Dr. Coleman, your thoughts, 5 years, 10 years from now, what does it look like?
So I just think about the time when the country or the world somewhat shut down in March 2020. You could literally be at home and never leave and get pretty much anything you needed through apps that then the person went in the store or went to the restaurant.
I'm guilty.
I'm very guilty. This is how I learned about Instacarts. It's my new friend. And everything is delivered to you, right? And so I just see things like that becoming more advanced, like either faster or maybe some of the human beings are replaced with driverless cars.
Right.
But everything is just automated. You can talk to devices in your house and find the weather, find the news, get your schedule every morning said to you at a certain time if that's how you program it. So I think that people are just going to continue to use it in a way that makes life more convenient. For me personally, I have always said, we should be doing science projects with young people across the world, because you can get on Zoom, you can get on Google Hangouts, and maybe about 7 years ago, I actually had some students from one of the junior highs Zoom in with African-American pilot. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh, wow.
And he was in China, and he was talking to the kids about food waste and how much food is wasted in America versus China, and talking about dumpster diving. And it's like, it was a whole new world for these students, because it was like midnight there, but 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning here. So I know technology will be more technology, but I'm thinking about how we can better use what we have right now and adapt that to young people and what they're living in, because they're living in a fast-paced world. TikTok is hot. Like you said, Facebook is older folks older than me. The kids are not there.
So long gone.
If we want to catch them, it's like you have to be with the latest app or the latest, whatever social media platform is what really people are looking for news and information and entertainment. I don't know many people who watch cable channels anymore. Yeah. Most people are streaming something from a certain app, not just, how you used to just have cable and all these channels lined up. So I think people are just going to continue to use it to make life more efficient and more enjoyable. And I just hope it's used more in the schools and in our world to let students see what they might not ever get a chance to see. Yeah. Imagine someone doing a virtual tour of the Eiffel Tower for the kids who might not ever fly out to Paris.
That's right. That's
right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I do want to mention something, Chris, that is a misconception in our field. We're educated. However, you do not need a degree to work in technology.
Okay.
Certifications are huge because you can have a degree and not know nothing.
That's true.
You need the certifications to back up, give you the credentials that you need. But one mate's like, well, she's a doctor and I have a master's. You don't need that. You literally can have an A+, Security Plus, Network Plus certification and get started in our field.
Wow, that's phenomenal. You all are really spinning this a little bit, and I want to make sure that we embrace it. What you all are saying is that as technology continues to be on the main stage here, we need to make sure that the people that we have in our own wheelhouse, our homes, our jobs, anybody that we do have influence over, that we snatch them up and make sure they have an opportunity to get introduced to technology at an early point in their life. So as they progress and grow, they'll be able to take advantage of many of opportunities that's out there and be able to learn and grow and to come back and help those in the community. I work for a large regional bank in metropolitan Chicago. And when I think about our IT department, there is one African-American person in that IT department. I mean, we have work to get done here because as the technology becomes mainstay, if we don't get in front of it, we're going to run ourselves into a position where we won't have jobs. And so how do we encourage people? And I know this is not on the script, but how do we get people? And Natalie, you're at the forefront of doing it at the early age, but how do we continue to make sure, even after they're out of your care, that people can really be able to come into technology, learning it, and literally allowing that to be a part of their future?
Well, one of the things is we have a bad habit of talking at people. We need to talk to people and find out what they're passionate about. Anything they're passionate about, I can relate it to technology.
I love it.
So if, like video games is your jam, okay, do you know that I'm the programmer that did Call of Duty? I work for a company called Blackwater, which is a private security company, which is like your Black Ops. So I am the mind behind, going out there. So the kids be like, really?
I'm like that right now.
Like, really? So once you make it relatable to what they do, because now a lot of children are not interested in school. Well, we got to relate it to what they like. And then once you get their attention, then it's kind of easier to go through.
Yeah, very good. Dr. Coleman.
I'm just following up with what Erica said. You ask students, what are you passionate about? Because I do the same thing. There's nothing you're going to tell me that I can't relate to a STEAM career. And with technology, what I've learned later in life is you could know nothing about technology, but manage the team that's responsible for doing all the technology things and making the apps and building the programs. There's jobs where you are UX designers. I said, that's what I would be if I was into this. That's the person who's looking at the program as the user would see it and making sure it's user friendly. Because I can compare a lot of things to, let's just say share ride apps. There's one that I use because it is user friendly and just more, I guess people say high tech. It's more advanced than the other ones. And I'm like, I can't switch. The same thing with Google and Microsoft Teams. I can't use Microsoft Teams, But it's like you want people to understand there's all types of jobs that are related to technology. I think about the young men who play 2K, right? They do know that they put someone in a room with green screens and these little prods on their body to do all the moves that you see. So when they add these funny moves that the players can do in the game, a real human being did that, or a computer app did that. So you could be the person that's helping design those things. You could be the fake basketball player even, right? So it's like all these things students may not know. So instead of talking at them, you show them the different careers that's related. You could, excuse me, if you think about music and sound equipment, and it's a lot of physics behind that, right? So it's just introducing them to something after you find out what they're interested in. I always say, what would you do for the rest of your life if you had food, shelter, and clothing, right? What would you do for free, basically? So that tells you what people really, how they like to spend their time.
Yep, very good. I love it. This is good. This is good stuff. Okay, so now this is where we get to elevate our audience and make sure that they get that they will walk away much better than it was before coming in. I'm going to throw some words at you, and I need your help to define them. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't know these words myself. So whatever you tell me, I'm believing it, and I think we're going to help people. We're going to start with this word called the cloud. What is the cloud? What is that?
The cloud is space that carries all your information virtually. Okay. So the cloud was introduced. When it was introduced, it was hilarious. We made jokes about it, like somebody leaked my cloud. So it's literally a virtual space that has been created to hold all your data in a virtual setting. Pretty much.
Gotcha. Now, what does that mean, Dr. Coleman? Like, if you had to break it down even further to someone that don't know, what is that?
So the cloud is, I did this thing on my phone. I took a picture. Okay. I have a note. I have something on my phone. Okay. I lose my phone. Okay. Well, if I go get a new phone or I go to a computer, I can log in. Okay. And my stuff is still there. Okay. Because it was in the cloud.
All right, we got it. Now we got that one. All right, we're winning. All right, I'm going to switch now for all of our businesses that want to make sure that we put these roundtables are connected to sales. What is SEO? Search engine optimization. What is that? I hear people say it, but I don't know really what it is.
To me, Erica probably has the technical answer, but for me, it is when they go in and put in, if they said STEAM education companies, the optimization is that after the peanut would show up first.
Okay.
That's what. So I'm on the user end. It's like your company has all these words associated with it, and when people search for a specific thing, yours is on that first page of Google. Yours is at the top of the list in the top 3. They don't have to go, because how many people really go to page 2? People click on those first few things that they see. So that's what it means to me.
That's right. Erica, how important is it that when I go to look for insurance companies, that State Farm Howard Right comes up first?
Very important. Very important. Actually, that is a whole job in itself. There's people that that's all they do is make sure you are in the SEO, because that is business. That is so your reviews and everything comes up. Are you in the top 5, top 10? Literally, nobody's going to page 2.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Wow.
So, and to keep you actually with your competitors, you definitely want to be up there. So, there's a lot of data and analytics that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, which is so strange because to me, I hardly don't go anywhere unless I've searched it. My wife and I, we were looking at a way to go. We're going to take a trip really soon. We spent probably 3 hours trying to find the right resort, and we looked at SEO, search engine optimization. We looked at the reviews. We looked at exactly who came up, who was our top tier resorts, and everything we do from food to anything I need in life. How do we help the businesses to help increase their chances of being at the forefront? Is that something you pay to get done, or can we do it ourselves?
So again, remember I mentioned earlier, you pay for things that you don't either have time to do yourself, you're not knowledgeable, in it. Now I will say, you know, you can go to YouTube and research how you can get started. But as you want your business to elevate, you will need to seek professionals to be able to elevate your business.
I got you.
And look, that is a business expense. Put that in your business plan.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
That's part of your marketing. So you want to have that as part of your tools to be able to reach the masses.
Very good. Okay. I got a new word. A new word for you all. Well, it's kind of a phrase now. It's not a word. 2 words, a phrase. Cybersecurity. What in the world is cybersecurity? I don't know what people say it all the time. And it's something that they say I'm supposed to be afraid of. What is cybersecurity and why am I afraid of cybersecurity?
Don't be afraid of cybersecurity. I am an ethical hacker.
Okay.
When people hear that, I think that's why I stayed single for a long time.
Oh.
Right? Like, so you know where I'm at? Yeah, well, you know, you don't pay me to look for you. But no, honestly, the pandemic showed the vulnerability of businesses, and cybersecurity is huge. So a bank will use somebody that is a cybersecurity analyst to try to hack the bank and then train the employees on what not to do. So phishing, emails, and that kind of thing. People think, you know, you're gonna win $50,000 if you click this link. You just open up a whole can of worms. And there's people that have no time, you know, nothing but time on their hands to find ways to scam people and that kind of thing, and scam businesses. And what's happening is that we use so much of our information. So that's identity theft comes up a lot. We use our credit cards, we put our address, we put our birthday, Social Security, all this online in the cyber world. And here's a big thing I have to tell students and the youth is that whatever you thought you deleted is not deleted. It can be found. So with that being said, you know, you use keywords to for your passwords. Most men statistically use the same password. It's very basic. And it's easy to figure out. What's his last name? What's his birthday? Okay. Yeah, that's his password.
You told my passcode.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, it's easier nowadays to be able to go through personal information. So I'm not saying be afraid of, but be mindful of what you put out there. Be mindful what you click on. Be mindful what you're searching for. That's another thing when you do search for things online. So like for instance, to get a EIN number, you don't have to pay for that. That's free. Why are you paying for an EIN number? So be mindful of the different websites you go to and the information you put in there and that kind of thing.
Yeah, very good. Dr. Coleman.
When it comes to cybersecurity, I think about the generation that will not pay their bills online, you know, and for me, it's like they're afraid that someone's going to steal their information. So it goes kind of, for me, it's just about the whole password piece, because now it's 2-factor authentication, right? So you put in your password, but then you have to have your phone get a number. So if that's an option for any program or platform you're using, then I would use that. So I don't know how to, like, the other thing I think about all the time is that if you have a pattern of your online usage with your bank, for example, and something crazy happens, the great thing about technology, you can set it up to where your bank texts you or calls you. Wait a minute, somebody just spent $5,000. You don't ever spend $5,000 in a day. So just things like that makes me think that the people who work in cybersecurity create these security measures that you want to take advantage of as an individual and as a business owner. Yeah,
very good. Cybersecurity is very, very serious. And in banking world, you know, what we see is a lot of times people are literally, to Erica's point, have so much time on their hand. Their job is to figure out how to defraud people. And then what they do is they typically lean on our senior folks. So senior business owners out there, make sure you know you're targeted. People want to figure out a way where you're vulnerable, and they're going to do what they can to take advantage of that. So the question I want to know is how do we help people? that don't know about cybersecurity, that are like literally every time you get on the computer, somebody is asking you to buy their cybersecurity software to be safe. How do you know which one to even go with? How do we speak to this in a way that our business owners can say, okay, I need to make sure I'm protected?
Well, you can give me a call.
Shameless plug.
A little bit. No, seriously. Go back to the SEO. We're gonna put all these words into it, right? Go back to the SEO. Go and Google search or search top companies or top, or even ask word of mouth. Connect to organizations like AABA that network and find out who in your area, in your community, already does it. And then you can give a testimonial and that kind of thing. But cybersecurity is huge, especially for my business now. It picked up my business by 54% due to that. So with that being said, we want to be mindful, but definitely research people and research what they're really looking to do for you, and then find out their reviews. A lot of reviews will tell you a lot.
Yeah, sure enough. No, I swear by it. I'll spend hours probably than not what I should looking and researching on reviews to see what others are saying. Dr. Coleman, we have one more. We'll end on our round of definitions on this one. Data integrity. What is data integrity?
I don't really have an answer for data integrity. No, I don't. Help me out here.
Okay, I got you.
What is data integrity?
So data integrity is your information being protected.
Okay.
So for instance, I recently, my team recently had a client that asked us to be able to hack their company.
Okay.
Right? And the data that we're obtaining, believe it or not, it was easier than I thought to be able to get into their company just by apps like LinkedIn. What we did was create a whole profile and say, hey, I work for that company now too. Could you give me some tips that will make my job better? You didn't even look to see if I worked for the company. You just saw I had a profile that was with the same company you have. So now you're sharing data. So confidentiality comes into play. So some things you should have never shared with me because you don't know if I'm authentically working for that company. So that, and then again, with confidentiality, by working in human resources and that kind of thing, you have to be very mindful of the information you give out. You will be surprised how many people actually look to do bad with that information. Could you give me Sally's information so I can send her flowers? I heard her mother passed. But now you're going to Sally's house. Why are you going to Sally's house?
Yes. This makes me think about when I was looking for platforms for payroll, right? So there's so many companies when COVID hit that said, you have so many like seasonal employees or employees that are virtual that might not even live in the country, right? So you have to find a way to pay them. So I had to do some research behind which company that I trust that people are putting in their bank information, people are putting in their social security number. And the same thing to your point about going to people's homes, the platform that's used for student registration for programs. Can someone easily access that? They know when the kid is in the camp or when the parent isn't, whatever the case may be, and now they can turn it to some type of stalker or bothering people because they have their address and their age and their emergency contact. So when you think about which programs you're using for your company, now I have a good definition of data integrity. You want to make sure people can't hack into it and steal that information and use it to do bad things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's happening everywhere. And I was just thinking that it's so easy. I got an email recently that said, hey, thank you for helping out with this program. And I was a part of the program. We have a prize for you for helping out with the program. Put your information in and email it.
I get so many Amazon
so
many you've won.
But they told you won. Why I need to put information? You already said I won.
Yeah. Do you see? And before you know it, because I want that prize, I'm putting in my information so they can mail me out my prize. But now they have all my information.
And what happens is you start seeing spammy emails from all other kind of companies. And you're like, where did that come from? That opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah, to get more information. Yeah, this stuff, this is why we got to have these conversations, especially in the Black and brown communities, because sometimes we don't open ourselves up to learning these things so that we can better present ourselves. Now, when we talk about businesses, what have you all seen where some businesses, for sure, just don't have it? They get it wrong. And when you see it, you like, oh my God, they do not have somebody, a technology person on their team.
So what's interesting is that in the field of technology, I do a few things, but one of the misconceptions is people ask me to do websites. I don't do websites. I'm not graphics. That's not my thing. I'm more of the ones and zeros. If I see the number 10, only 2 of us will understand.
Right. Because I don't understand at
all. But what I will tell you, and kind of go back with data integrity, in your business, people are on a need to know basis. Okay. So if you are a restaurant owner, you have a chef. The chef don't need to know about employee profiles and all that. The chef just need to know who is bringing the food and how many people I need to feed and that kind of thing. So you want to be very mindful about the information that you share within your business with others.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we all started together. Doesn't mean they need to all know the same information. Then you run the risk also of giving your competition information as well.
Yeah, very good. I love that. Dr. Coleman, I'm going to ask you that question, but I want to make sure that I got a small little story, because I think when we talk about we talk about technology and what's missing, I'll never forget. Have you guys ever had experience where you literally, somebody was telling you about a business, you forgot about it, and then when you remember, you went to go Google and there's no way to find them. I think that's the number one mistake in technology is you need to be in a place, in a position to where somebody can be able to find you. Dr. Coleman, what other mistakes have you seen out there where you recognize that company does not have somebody in technology working for them?
It might be technology, but it might also be marketing. But it's when you go to their webpage and they still have up something from 6 months ago. Or you go to find them on social media and it's nothing there. And so I think that's a combination of maybe IT and marketing, but it's like things are outdated. Even the website looks outdated or it's not user friendly. So that might mean that the CEO made it or the friend who said they had time and oh, it's easy. I can just throw something together for you. And so it makes a difference in your branding and your appearance when your IT is not on the up and up. Or like you said, you put the name in a search engine and you can't find them, or there's no phone number. That's really annoying to me that you can't talk to a human being with any company. I know we live in the world of technology, but it's nice to have a phone number where you can at least leave a message or hear that it's, so that legitimizes the business to me in some ways, like that I can reach out and actually talk to a human being versus just seeing everything virtually.
Yeah, very good. I love it. That's very, Erica, any last stuff?
So with that, actually, I didn't have a website for a long time because I wanted my business to be word of mouth. I manage IT for different businesses. And sometimes what happens is you go into contracts with businesses and they don't want you to work with other businesses. So it could be different things when it comes to IT. Now, there's somebody that can manage your sites, your social media, your website and that kind of thing. But again, as you are leveling up your business, you're going to have to think of adding that to your marketing costs of somebody handling that for you because they got to know what certain times of the day to put that information out or what, really look at the analytics of your business. So it's just, when we think of technology, it's just not the hardware. You got to think about the software. And so software is your applications. Like social media is applications. So that is your software, and you need somebody to be mindful of when you're looking out for people, what do you specialize in? So those different things you definitely want to look at.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning so much here. I may want to start a technology business, but I am just really, this is really so much, so helpful. We got the hardware side, we got the software side, we got these applications. What I want to do is I want to find out from you, when we look at a business, and you just mentioned it, Erica, really starting to have a technology presence. The businesses that are watching today, they want to know, where do they start with building a technology presence? Where do you literally start? You're a solopreneur. You know you need technology. You've listened. You learn software, hardware. You learn all these things. We learn the platform. We learn MailChimp. We learn all of these different things. We learn search engine optimization. Man, we learned a lot of information in such a short time. Where do we start in building a technology platform? Erica, that's your question. And then Dr. Coleman, I want to pivot to your question a little bit, because you work with a lot of young people that are just being brought to technology. This is their first time literally seeing it in the way that you're showing it to them. How impactful is it that this is their first time seeing this? And then how do you take them to the next level, so at the end of the day, they're not caught in this, what I call it, a quagmire, where people are just stuck really not knowing how technology is going to impact them? Because my biggest fear is 5 years from now, most of us won't know what to do because we failed to get up to speed. So Erica, we'll start with your question, and then Dr. Coleman will go to you.
So when we talk about technology in business, we got to look at the whole picture. So I would say a SWOT analysis need to be done.
I like that.
A SWOT analysis need to be done, because then you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Also, every business is not going to be the same. You got to find what's going to work for your business. Like, do you need, now a lot of people want websites, but is it better to have a mobile app?
Now, what's a mobile app?
A mobile app is like the application you download. Now, most people, when they get their phone, there are already apps on their phone.
Okay.
All right. So your website can be a mobile app as well, versus just being a website.
Okay.
So you want somebody, so like you can make any website into a mobile app by just putting it on your home screen.
Okay.
And it looks like a little app on your phone. And then that can be like the key place to go to for your business.
Got that. Okay.
So with that being said, the technology that you would need could be the mobile app, the QR code. The QR code comes with discounts if you use this, because now you're finding out how many people are downloading. Now we're looking at analytics.
That's right.
How many people that you need to service, and how do you want to level it up by quarter, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. So it's really doing that SWOT analysis first. And then actually finding the people that are specializing in different fields to be able to give you that feedback. I know that we all want to do it on our own. However, you want to level up your business and be in business for real. What we found out during the pandemic, especially when county was throwing out money, people wasn't in business for real. So get in business for real. Find out your Dun and Bradstreet number. Find out about net 10s and net 30s, and find out what that means. And then find out the technology that you need as well. Do I need a mobile app? Do I need a website? Do I need to get MailChimp? How many people do I need to email, or do I mail them? I don't want you to mail me nothing. Go email me, or get my phone number, those different things, components. Do a checklist of the things you need for your business. So we may say everybody needs SEO, because you want to be number one when they search for you. We can search for Howard Wright and find him being the insurance man in the area. So with that being said, you would have to literally just really take your business for real. And break it down.
Erica, you really said something. Dr. Coleman, I'm going to get to you, but you said something that really sparked a whole lot of interest. You really talked about the SWOT analysis and really sitting down and just doing a full assessment on where your business is at in terms of technology. Let me tell you what I think is so important about that. How do you who do you invite to that table? Is that where you really call a technology professional and say, hey, I need to go have a SWOT analysis on my business. Can you perform that?
So what you would say is, I know people use they use keywords all the time. Mm-hmm. Let's have a mastermind class, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So mastermind is really one mind, but I digress. But get a group of people mm-hmm. that are professionals in their own profession mm-hmm. that you meet in your business mm-hmm. and to be able to get that feedback mm-hmm. for your business. Mm-hmm. And you can take the advice or not, but it's totally up to you. But get other people besides just yourself.
Yeah, very good.
And sometimes it's not always going to be family and friends. Mm-hmm. And I would definitely say, get people that have done it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. yeah.
Get people that have been in business for a while. Mm-hmm. And see if they can come to that table and help you with that.
Yeah, very good. It's so to me, everything in business is all about the people that you have around you. Mm-hmm. And I think you're bringing up a very good point. The reason why this question is so relevant, Dr. Coleman, is because you are a trendsetter. You are someone that literally is getting technology in the hearts and the minds of our young people at an early age. How do you make sure that when they leave Dr. Coleman's area, that her organization, her tutelage and her experience with working and understanding the power of STEM, how do you make sure they carry that on, that they're able to literally walk away one day saying, you know what, I remember what happened when I was introduced to it. And from that introduction, I've built off and now I'm here.
So we can take something like, let's just take the best phones in the world, mm-hmm. iPhones. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
We all agree here?
Yes. I'm iPhone
so someone built the phone, mm-hmm. but the person who built the phone did not write the commercials for the phone.
Mm. Okay.
The person who wrote the commercials for the phone might not have selected the imagery and the videos that would be used. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the person who can sell the phone, which it kind of sells itself now, but let's just say you had a sales rep, mm-hmm. that person has a different set of skills. Mm-hmm. So when you come into a program after the Peanut, we push entrepreneurship, the art around a product, not just the person who can build it and make it go. Because you gotta have someone who can fix the phone, build the phone, understand how it works, make all the wonderful apps that come with it. But then you also have to have someone who does the marketing. Mm-hmm. So students understand like you're like a little small business, mm-hmm. and maybe you could care less about how a phone works, mm-hmm. but you will make the best brochure or 8x11 graphic for this product mm-hmm. that your team created, and you go sell the heck out of it, mm-hmm. right? And so that shows you that no product, no one thing is one person's. It takes a whole team. Mm-hmm. And so we push the skills behind STEAM more than the actual career itself. Now, of course, we introduce them to the careers behind it, but if there's a student who loves art and likes to draw and doodle, right? Okay, now we have our marketing department. Mm-hmm. You get to lead that. Mm-hmm. So anytime I have students who, if the parents happen to sign them up and they're like weary about whatever it is we're doing, you got to find out what it is that they kind of like to do, want to do, and apply it to that situation that they are in.
Yeah, very good. That's so critical. And I know there's parents watching, and I hope they were listening, because it's so important that we get our children sent to After the Peanut and make sure that even in high school and grade school, that when technology is offered, that people have an opportunity at the earlier. I'm just of the mindset that the earlier you go, the better. I'm intrigued with my nephew and my niece that are 7, 8 years old. They can work a phone better than I do. And they'll take my phone and switch stuff around. And I'm like, well, where's that app at? The only one I use. But technology is so critically important. We have learned so much today. I really do think that you all need to package this together and really start selling this to people and to really give them a chance. But thankfully, the African American Business Association was lucky enough to have Erica and Dr. Coleman to come in and to really just pour out and give all this information relative to technology and metaverse and building websites and platforms and my favorite, MailChimp. These are all things that if you don't know anything about, you're left behind. If you don't know the power of MailChimp, that bad, I mean, it is wonderful. You put your emails in there, you design something real quick, it goes out to all your people, you can schedule it. There's so much that we were able to learn. We definitely need a part 2 of this because there is so much to technology. And what's interesting is if we were to have this conversation tomorrow, technology would have already changed.
Correct.
We want to give you guys some time to give your lasting impression. We have businesses out here that some of them don't know anything about it. Some of them know exactly what some of these terms are. I want you all to really talk to the people out there that really have a baseline knowledge of technology, and they need motivation to go out and learn even more. This is designed for us to just test the waters, but we want people to take this, especially our Black and brown businesses. We want them, after we've had this time, this virtual CEO roundtable, we want them to take this information and go and do something with it, apply it, and we want to be able to encourage them. Erica, what are your last words? Dr. Coleman, what are your last words? Erica.
I would say very much so you need to understand your business. With that being said, I had a company that their systems went down and I'm the engineer. So I had to go in, and every minute that they was down, they was losing tens and thousands of dollars. That's how important technology is to most businesses. Wow. That you are leaving money on the table, losing money, and you're not scaling up when you know that you're like so close, like 3 feet from goal. But because you don't understand this and you allowing fear to step in and allow to take over, you're not scaling the way you need to. Mm-hmm. So I would say, right now, what you thought you knew, you didn't know, seek professionals to help you with that, and embrace the information. Mm-hmm. And with that information, decide if you want to make money or not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You in business for what? Mm-hmm. Now for profit is another story, but you for profit. Mm-hmm. So you need the technology, and it's evolving daily and weekly and monthly and yearly. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, don't get left behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Dr. Coleman, what's your last word?
One thing I learned is how technology can help you pivot your company, because had it not been for Zoom and the ability for people to meet online, a tutoring path that I went down wouldn't have been able to happen, right? And so one, I think, is finding out how technology can help you pivot to bring in more revenue for your company. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to, like, why are you in business? If you're not going to be the best at what you're doing, like, why are you doing it? Yep. And then to look at what your true back end costs are. Do you need a website, or do you just need to be on social media platform, and understanding your audience and how you're going to communicate with them? Do they like social media, or do they like something in the mail? Do they want to email at 7 p.m. or 7 a.m.? Right. Which MailChimp helps you optimize that once you send out enough, right? And so understanding how all what I call the back end software programs help create a foundation for your program, so you're not doing all of this work, and keeping that up where you can go out and upskill yourself, keep learning in your own field, and just be able to grow your business by understanding the technology you need foundationally to have your business be legitimized, right? And for people to be able to use your product, your service with ease. I think the last thing I'll say is, like, not group discussions, but like, you build something, say you do build a website, send it to your 10, 15 friends who would be consumers of whatever it is you have, and ask them, don't put on the friend hat, put on the consumer hat.
That's right. That's right. I love that. And I love it because what it does is it goes back to our theme, even with technology, don't do it alone. Make sure that you have people that surround you that's going to circle, and make sure that you're able to be your best technological person that you can be. I want to thank everybody for the time that you've been with us for this past hour. We are so glad that you were able to sit down and listen in to these wonderful experts in the area of technology. This was beyond phenomenal. Thank you so much, Erica. Your time and your experience in this area has helped so many people that will tune in and to be able to watch this around the world. And of course, Dr. Coleman, your expert opinions and your thoughts around literally how we're going to impact folks in areas of technology at a young age mean the world to our Black and Brown community. Again, you're a pioneer and you are a trendsetter. We ask that you will continue that. Well, thank you everyone for the time. Our time is up. I want to make sure that I do make sure we thank our partners, Road to Eternity. They do a phenomenal job. They're a media group and media company right here in Joliet. Make sure you support them. I want to thank our sponsors. Without you, this would not be possible. Thank you for your sponsorship. Your information is on our screen now. Make sure we support our sponsor. To the AABA board, thank you so much. To the Joliet Regional Chamber, Jen, Mike, and the team, thank you all so much. It has been my absolute pleasure to host tonight's 4th episode of the CEO Roundtable. I'm praying that you all have a good night. Thank you so much.